to request Ms. Razia Razak to present her paper, A Qualitative Study on the Socio-Economic Impact of Participation in Fourth Islamic Microfinance on Poverty Eradication and Women Empowerment. Ms. Razia, you can share your screen now.
सर अस्सलाम वालेकुम. यस सर, आई कैन हेयर यू. सर थोड़ा सा स्लाइड्स में थोड़ा सा इशू आ रहा है, ये ओपन नहीं हो रही है मेरे पास. तो सर इफ़ यू अलाउ मी, मैं अपना सेकंड वाला आर्टिकल जो है वो प्रेजेंट कर लूँ.
Sure, Ms. Razia. So now I would request Ms. Razia Razak to present her paper, Role of FinTech Innovation in Financial Inclusion, Avoiding the Vulnerability of Cybercrime and Backwardness. Please present your paper. You will have 10 minutes to present. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Let me share slides, please. My slides are displaying on the media.
Yes, Ms. Razia, we can see your slides.
Okay, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Today's my topic is on role of fintech innovation in financial inclusion, avoiding the vulnerability of cybercrime and backwardness. This topic is about fintech innovation and financial inclusion, in which we will see the impact of financial inclusion on the backwardness and cybercrime, with the the impact or which is positively enhance or not in the individual or societal well-being. Actually, we see the impact of financial inclusion on the individual and societal well-being, and the moderating effect of cybercrime and backwardness. Digital technology has revolutionized the whole economy, but it is playing vital role in financial industry. It is said by the at L to 2020. Next, fintech has encouraged people to avail the opportunity of financial inclusion by providing the conventional and unconventional financial services, including the usage of smartphone, digital currency, internet, software, hardware, and online banking transactions. Financial inclusion indicates people's ability to reach and efficiently utilize the required monetary products and financial services. FinTech has encouraged people to avail this opportunity of financial inclusion by providing the conventional and unconventional financial services, including the usage of financial inclusion contributes in economic growth and societal well-being, stated by the Central Bank of Malaysia. Then globally, the services sector is shifted towards digitalization, increasing usage of fintech innovation in transforming the way businesses and consumer executive financial transactions exchange information and accomplish their day-to-day operations. Consumer behavior are reshaping due to modern innovation, digital connectivity, because it has provided the consumers convenient methods of transferring their funds, customized retail and cost-saving experiences. Hence, fintech innovation are improving the edifice of financial inclusion, said by Sariono in 2019. Improved performance makes individuals achieve financial satisfaction, and financial inclusion contributes in economic growth and societal well-being, stated by the Central Bank of Malaysia. Now, this study has the research problem. Various studies have been carried out on fintech and financial inclusion. However, in rare cases, any study has ever addressed the combined relationship among the fintech, societal well-being, individual well-being, and the relationship among financial inclusion, societal well-being, and individual well-being. And the vulnerability includes many factors. Some of them are backwardness and cybercrime, through which the moderating effect is determined between the fintech and financial inclusion, which plays ultimate impact on the societal well-being and individual well-being. Especially the current study is focusing on the individual and societal well-being in South Punjab. Previous studies have not studied the relation between the fintech and financial inclusion with the vulnerability of backwardness and cybercrime. Therefore, the current study is going to bridge this literature gap by examining the relationship of these variables. Research gap. The research under discussion tends to identify with respect to the positivity of financial inclusion impact upon individual and societal well-being in southern region of Punjab. The study of literature is concerned about the influence of fintech innovation for the progress of financial inclusion, avoiding the vulnerability of cybercrime and backwardness, measuring yardstick of spectrum. The literature review also reveals an important correlation among studies results supported by NGOs and MFIs and reverse results from other free studies. Moreover, the socio-economic impact shows its stress on the significance of research through influence appraisal technique that is an extensive method anyway. Research objectives of this study includes to study the relationship between fintech and financial inclusion, to study the impact of financial inclusion on societal well-being, to study the impact of financial inclusion on individual well-being, and to study the intimidating role of vulnerability factors on the relationship between financial inclusion and individual and societal well-being. Research questions includes, is there any substantial relationship between fintech and financial inclusion? What is the effect of financial inclusion on societal well-being? What is the effect of financial inclusion on individual well-being? And the last is, do the vulnerability factors hamper the relationship of financial inclusion with individual and societal well-being? The scope of this study includes the financial sector of Pakistan consists of banking and non-banking financial institutions which contribute a major share in the GDP of the country. These banks and financial institutions have the biggest network and branches nationally, although this study is carried out in context of Pakistan, but its implications are equally significant for any other context, as it investigates the role of fintech innovation in financial inclusion, avoiding the vulnerability of cybercrime and backwardness. Moreover, study is limited to the one country and includes limited number of determinants to determine the societal and individual well-being through fintech and financial inclusion. Additionally, the quantitative cross-sectional research design was employed and questionnaire was the main tool for data collection. The data was collected through Google questionnaire to keep in view of the COVID-19 pandemic and maintains the preventive measures. Literature review includes introduction में आता है, financial technology has long been lauded as a powerful tool to drive sustainable growth by improving financial activities and transactions. With the advent of internet and modern technology, fintech innovations are now taking innovative measures for financial inclusion, from micro lending, micro payments, to micro insurance and remittances, especially in Asian countries, for example, Pakistan, where a substantial number of the population do not use financial services due to infrastructural, geographical, educational, and technological challenges. Financial inclusion indicates people's ability to reach and efficiently utilize the required monetary products and financial services. However, researchers and practitioners give immense attention on an individual intention to use and accept of technology, standing with the fact that technology improve the financial efficiency, effectiveness, and provide functional benefits to customers. Its adoption is still low. Next, this is FinTech. FinTech refers to an innovative process to use technology in the designing of financial products and services, and it is bringing digitalization in delivery process by introducing technological instruments, tools, and process. Examples are online banking, e-banking, mobile banking, applications, e-commerce, which enable individuals to impact and perform financial activities and address their financial needs more quickly and efficiently. Financial inclusion serves as a more beneficial determinant for progress of economy by increasing financial services to the individuals that may lead to more effective customer bases. Uh, Now I want to explain what is fintech and what is financial inclusion. Actually, the fintech is technology. We make transactions through banks, mobile apps, and other instruments. And the financial inclusion is actually the effective use of these financial technology. Individual well-being. Individual well-being is an individual stability towards living of standards, health, and having satisfaction towards life. Individual well-being is a state where human needs are entirely satisfied and communities coexist peacefully, where they have opportunities for advancements and growth. And societal well-being, an easy and speedy approach of the social members towards the financial system is directly associated with the financial inclusion, which play a role in boosting up the societal well-being. Furthermore, the countries put major effort towards financial inclusion are enjoying high societal well-being. Vulnerability. Vulnerability includes backwardness and cybercrime in our study. Now I will explain vulnerability. Vulnerability is a vigorous paradox that is often in constant flux. Mensuration of vulnerability ought to consequently replicate social procedures that seem complex and with number of linkages which might be tough to pin down. Therefore, vulnerabilities are not easily reduced to a single indicator, nor are they easy to quantify. According to the Council Europe's Cybercrime Treaty, cybercrime alludes to offense going from crime against information to content and copyright encroachment. Xavier Gies defined cybercrime as all the fraudulent activities, illegitimate approach, child pornography, and blogosphere. The Manual of United Nations on the Prevention and Control of Digital Crimes added on the imposture, fabrication, illegitimate approach in the definition of cybercrime. Cyber terrorism can be used as an alternative term for cybercrime. Now we will study about the relationship between fintech and financial inclusion. Fintech through financial inclusion is the blood for economic development, but it varies in its impact, easy approach to the credit and other safe, convenient and affordable financial services for the poor and disadvantaged group. Poor areas and underdeveloped sectors is seen as a prerequisite for the speeding up growth and turning down income disparities and poverty. Relationship between financial inclusion and individual well-being. Financial inclusion directly affects economic progress regardless of the socio-economic class by enhancing the financial access to the individuals. A study conducted in Burkina Faso has evaluated the integral role of fintech in the promotion of favorable effects of financial inclusion. Relationship between financial inclusion and societal well-being. Financial inclusion through fintech innovation transforms the overall societal landscape as it distributes the financial services equitably and cheaply. It helps in the concerted efforts for the poverty alleviation. It is also useful in providing agile services to the market, and the people feel satisfaction for the speedy transaction of their financial products. It exerts lesser regulatory pressure over the individuals, and they become ready to take risks which overhauls the societal mindset. Proper management of the financial resources can be safeguard socio-economic justice, ensure equal distribution of wealth and financial resources, and alleviate poverty. relationship of vulnerability with financial inclusion and individual well-being. Cyber insecurity and backwardness of individuals pose a grave threat to their ever-increasing role of fintech innovation in financial inclusion. This is my conceptual framework in which it shows that fintech innovation, when it is fintech is directly linked with the financial inclusion, and then financial inclusion leads to individual and societal well-being. But the vulnerability factors, which include cybercrime and backwardness, they hamper it negatively, and the individual and societal well-being could not be achieved in that manner which we can achieve without these vulnerability factors. Research hypothesis includes five number of hypotheses. Number one, there is a significant relationship between fintech innovation, fintech and financial inclusion. There is significant relationship between financial inclusion and individual well-being. There is a significant relationship between financial inclusion and societal well-being. Vulnerability hampers the relationship between financial inclusion and individual well-being. Vulnerability hampers the relationship between financial inclusion and societal well-being. Research methodology in this research study engaged to investigate role of fintech innovation in financial inclusion, avoiding the vulnerability of cybercrime and backwardness in the southern region of Punjab, Pakistan. The research approach of this study is hypothetical, deductive, and thus using the cause and effect research design. The purpose of this research is to examine the causal effect of independent variables over the dependent variable. However, the conceptual model of this study includes financial inclusion, individual well-being, societal well-being, and vulnerability factors such as cybercrime and backwardness as explanatory variable, and fintech innovation as explained variable. Research type, this was quantitative type of research. The investigation was carried out by applying the quantitative approach and procedures. The focal point of this research is to find out the important research questions and confirm the hypothesis. Since quantitative research is based on the scientific general methods, the purpose of this research is to evaluate the specific target and then summarize the overall results by adding points in the sample. This study examines the role of fintech innovation in financial inclusion, avoiding the vulnerability of cybercrime and backwardness in the context of Pakistan population. This research questions the role of fintech innovation in financial inclusion of the southern region of Punjab province of Pakistan. The population of this research is characterized as they are already using financial technology and other institutions of society. Sampling method, the present study followed the quantitative explanatory research to collect data from the technology users in the southern Punjab. The selection of the probability sampling method of this study is based on the same distribution pattern of the population and the sample, which means that the standard deviation and the variance of the data is representative of the population. Moreover, the results can be generalized over the entire population within the given limitations. Sample size and technique, study has been used G-Power software to estimate appropriate sample size. As per G-Power software results, minimum appropriate size of sample was 107. To generate more accurate results of this study, took larger sample size of 514 respondents is being used. Hence, initially sample size of the study was based on 532 respondents. Thus, to achieve this sample size, the researchers distributed Google survey given the prevailing pandemic COVID-19 situation in the country and social distancing restrictions of the government policies, but incomplete survey questionnaire were eliminated, and study considers the sample size of 514 with the response rate of greater than 85%. Methodology, data collection. This study primarily employed survey method to collect data from the respondents personally. The research rate is dependent over numerous factors such as the language quality, preciseness, and role of researcher in the research data instruments. This study has been used Google surveys to collect data in prevailing situation of COVID-19 pandemic by maintaining the social distancing. Data collection, our survey was composed of demographic profile, in which there were 4 items, FinTech consist of 5 items, financial inclusion on 5 items, individual well-being on 5 items, societal well-being on 7 items, and vulnerability factors on 5 items. Data analysis
Assalamu
techniques.
alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Ji Razia, please speed up your presentation and
Okay, sir.
wind up in 5 minutes. Okay.
Okay, sir. So I'm winding up.
Okay.
Results and discussions shows that financial inclusion have this. Okay. Now I'm winding up my presentation. This chart shows that our first hypothesis that consists on financial inclusion with impact of individual well-being is supported to our study. The second hypothesis consists on financial inclusion on societal well-being. It is also supported by our study that it has positive impact on the individual and societal well-being. Other hypothesis consist of FinTech with the financial inclusion, and it is also supported by our study. Other hypothesis has which consist on moderating and effect of on individual well-being. मतलब हमारे जो साइबर क्राइम और बैकवर्डनेस का जो है वो हमारे इंडिविजुअल वेलबींग को मॉडरेट कर रहे हैं, तो वो हमारी स्टडी उसको सपोर्ट नहीं कर रही है. मतलब उसके बावजूद लोग जो है वो उस टेक्नोलॉजी को यूज कर रहे हैं, तो इतना ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट नहीं आ रहा जो हमारी स्टडी उसको लेके चल रही थी. द नेक्स्ट हाइपोथेसिस कंसिस्ट ऑन मॉडरेटिंग इफेक्ट ऑन सोसाइटल वेलबींग. मतलब सोसाइटल वेलबींग पे भी साइबर क्राइम इनसिक्योरिटी इतना ज्यादा इफेक्ट नहीं कर रही है, वो भी इतना वो सपोर्ट नहीं हुआ है. नेक्स्ट हाइपोथेसिस है वल्नरेबिलिटी ऑन इंडिविजुअल वेलबींग. साइबर क्राइम का कोई इफेक्ट नहीं हुआ, लेकिन वल्नरेबिलिटी में जो हमारा है दूसरा हमारा इसमें इंक्लूड होता है बैकवर्डनेस, उसने उसको नेगेटिव इंडिविजुअल वेलबींग और सोसाइटल वेलबींग वो उसने इफेक्ट किया है, और वो दोनों हमारे हाइपोथेसिस सपोर्टेड है. And now conclusion. Study explored the moderate level of predictive power of the model by exploring result of R-square 47 in behavioral sciences according to Joe F. Hare et al. 2011 and Joseph F. Hare et al. 2019. The R-square value of 0.10 also considered acceptable. Hence, all proposed empirical data except individual and societal well-being supports and confirms all proposed hypotheses by exploring significant relationship between fintech innovation, financial inclusion, and vulnerability, and rejects the null hypothesis. Hypothesis constructed on individual and societal well-being with relation to the cybercrime did not support thus accept null hypothesis. Theoretical and practical implications and limitations for future research directions. Current study applies self-supported measures. These measures could influence the fintech innovation and financial inclusion of the randomly selected participants. Therefore, there are chances of social disability and or CMV. Although the present study attempt to reduce these issues by ensuring anonymity and improving the item of the scale, but still there are chances of the occurrence of these issues. Hence, future researchers may wish to use other strategies in order to assess role of fintech innovation in financial inclusion. Thank you. Any question, please?
Thank you so much for your presentation. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
I'm Dr. Imran from Behavioural University.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for your presentation, and your empirical research is very good as far as my concern. How you can measure the financial inclusion?
Sir, I measured financial inclusion through questionnaire, Google.
Okay, through questionnaire it's okay. But
yes,
what are the components you should include in your questionnaire? You should mention, I think, if I am not wrong.
Yes, sir. There are
five
sir,
components. 5 components.
Yes, sir. There were
So how you
five,
can finalize that 5 components?
सर मैंने इस तरह से कहूँगी फिनटेक इनोवेशन उस तरफ जब हमारे बैंकिंग सेक्टर उसको अडॉप्ट करती है, मतलब टेक्नोलॉजी को अडॉप्ट करती है, तो फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन आती है। फाइनेंशियल इंक्लूजन आने से हमारी इंडिविजुअल और सोसाइटल वेलबींग पे पॉजिटिव इम्पैक्ट आता है। लेकिन साइबर क्राइम जो है, जिसमें बैकवर्डनेस और साइबर क्राइम आता है, वो उसको नेगेटिवली
Oh, it's okay. That is all. I'm just asking about what are the components of your financial inclusion?
financial inclusion includes the adoption of technology by the people when it penetrates, मतलब माइक्रो, इसमें सर माइक्रो फाइनेंसिंग आ जाएगी, माइक्रो लैंडिंग आ जाएगी, हमारे इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स आ जाएंगे।
What instruments?
मतलब instruments like their application, mobile applications, their ATM accessibility, availability of banking sectors to near about them.
So you should include ATM availability as a component of financial inclusion.
Sir, not separately, but in discussed
Not
in
separately, but just you should mention you have 5 components for your, it means 5 questions related to financial inclusion. All right.
Yes, sir.
So I'm just asking about what are the 5 factors you should mention. On the one factor is the availability of automated or ATM machines. I'm only concerned about that. Financial inclusion are basically 4 measurement. The first one is your ATM per 1,000 adults. The second one is your commercial bank branches. The third one is your depositors with commercial bank. And the last but not the least is your life insurance premium to GDP. Then you should compose the index through principal component analysis. So that is a very popular and very reliable components of financial inclusion. Can you tell me why not you are using this one?
Sir, actually, I could not use these instruments because my study gets so vast. I want to limit my study in specific area. That's why I didn't use. And sorry, it is also a weak point. I should add in my study.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. I think there are no more questions. So, Ms. Razia, you can take down your slides.
Okay, sir.
Who's available? Let me check.
So there is another
Mr. Waqar
participant
Ahmed.
available.
Ji, sir. Who is he?
Okay. Muhammad Murad.
Muhammad Murad.
Muhammad
Okay.
Yes.
Sir, he's presenting.
Oh, actually, yes, he is presenting. I think. Yes, I think yes, Waqar.
Instead of Waqar
Okay,
Ahmed.
Waqar.
Okay.
Okay.
Instead of
Yes.
Waqar Ahmed. Right, sir. I'll invite him. So, second. In fact, sir, we should restart the meeting. It's going to end in 7 minutes. So the presentation would not be concluded. So let's just rejoin this meeting and he can just start presenting as soon as we join in, and I'll just invite him right away.
Sure, sir. Okay.